These days, we have so many launchers, from Prism, Bad Lion, the newly released Modern launcher, to my personal favorite, Multiums. But for modded Minecraft, there's one big name that always comes up: CurseForge. See, CurseForge has been one of the oldest names in the Minecraft world, and one of the first places people hosted their mods. But they also have their own launcher, which to my knowledge is very widely used due to its ease of use. However, if you're talking about the CurseForge launcher, we always have to talk about its shadow: Overwolf, a TeamSpeak overlay that eventually morphed into one of the biggest names, and all because of the purchase of CurseForge. And just like people hating Microsoft for everything bad Mojang does, players see the optional Overwolf app that comes bundled with the CurseForge installer with a lot of distrust, calling it bloatware, spyware, and cheating software amongst other things. The Reddit community has been actively hating Overwolf ever since its dodgy past, but is this reputation warranted? Well, my friends, let's dive in as I talk to Overwolf themselves to figure out if Overwolf is actually bad. So why does Overwolf have such a bad rap? Well, to figure that out, we have to go back to the days before your time and talk about TeamSpeak. Now, for some of you, all your hairs just on your back just got upright and got flashbacks to 2014, as TeamSpeak was the de facto voice communication app out there. Sure, you had Skype, but the real OGs were on TeamSpeak. It is on this legendary app that we got our first glimpse into what might be wrong with our subject today, as Overwolf just started out being an overlay for the TeamSpeak client, so you could see who was talking and who joined your chat room. Very cool, I know. But you have to remember, back in those days, these were very obscure apps only for mega nerds like yourself. So people actually liked Overwolf back in the day, and I myself used to run it for a while. But then the ads came, coupled with more and more integration into other apps and plugins, making the app more bloated to the users who just wanted an overlay. So according to Dr. Oyster and Overwolf themselves, they shifted their focus from being an overlay app for every game out there to just making a profession out of in-game creators, such as modding, by providing them with a portion of the money they get from ads. And with their purchase of CurseForge from Twitch in 2020, they already made a name for themselves once more. However, people still have not forgotten the absolute shit show that was 2015 on TeamSpeak. But is the criticism still valid today? Well, let's first see where this hate comes from. And it will come as no surprise when I say it's from the dark depths of the internet, otherwise known as Reddit. Now, jokes aside, Reddit is actually a good platform if you need help with something, or just general advice, no matter how niche it is. I post my Warhammer related stuff on there, and it's why only my finished works get on Twitter and look like this, and not like this. In any case, that being said, the Reddit community is notoriously unforgiving. So when Overwolf went from its mission of being an overlay for every game, and in my opinion overstepped its role a little bit by integrating other stuff at the same time, trying to be the everything app, the Reddit boards exploded with angry comments and posts saying the app became more and more bloated than it should be. Extra features piled on top of what is supposed to be an overlay for game, crushing the overlay itself in some cases, and all while serving ads. Because if there's one thing people will riot in the streets about, it's pensions. If there's two things people will riot in the streets about, it's pensions and ads. And as someone who runs a pie hole on a custom-made pfSense router just to filter out every possible ad imaginable, I would shoot someone with a bow in Minecraft if I had to see ads all day. And after taste testing my community itself, it seems people are also not really happy about the ads. By the way, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. I ask questions like this regularly, and if you want to make my videos even better, feel free to join our little community. But that aside, let's get back to our main topic. So history aside, let's take a look at modern Overwolf, both the company and the app. Starting with the company, what many people know is that it owns CurseForge and it serves a bunch of ads. And as stated, the goal of Overwolf is to make modding an actual profession you can earn money from. So when I asked Dr. Oyster, community team leader for Overwolf, about what exactly he meant, he gave me the following response. 1. Creating a platform to help creators make apps for games using our own API and overlay, and to give app creators monetary solutions to generate revenue from their creations. 2. Making CurseForge a place for creating, managing, and monetizing mods for more and more games, making it a safe space for users and a platform game developers can rely on to connect to. 3. Reaching out to game developers, educating them about the benefits of UGC, and offering our services in creating a seamless modding experience integrated into their next game from launch. So it does seem they are actually committed to this goal. And yes, you could argue this is a company and they only want to do this for themselves so they can earn more. And honestly, that probably is true, but that doesn't mean it can't do something good in the meantime. Moving on then, the question of privacy. It's no secret that nowadays people's data is being stolen more than eyeliner at a makeup store. And Overwolf serves personalized ads to its user, meaning that they collect personalized data. So I asked them directly, how safe is my data at Overwolf? Their response was honestly a bit comforting. After confirming that I can opt out of both the personalized experience collecting and analytical data collecting, they also wanted to state that they are being as transparent with my data as possible. And while I can appreciate this immensely, I personally never trust any company with my data. But that's because I'm a paranoid security nut. They also said they are not selling data to third parties, which I really hope is true. Plus, you can always sign in anonymously into Overwolf, which, you know, that's pretty good. I like that. And because I live in the EU, they have to comply with my right to be forgotten on their servers. So as far as Overwolf itself go, I'm leaning more towards it being a good company. Sure, they had some mistakes, but I do believe they are making modding a more lucrative and rewarding hobby, if not a profession, for some lucky individuals. Now, moving on to the app. Since I'm a relic of ancient times, I do remember the days of Overwolf being a pretty nice overlay on TeamSpeak, and I will always see it as that. So I'll state again, this is all just my opinion, and while I'm trying to be as objective as possible, I will always retain some disdain towards ads and the services that provide them. But again, that's just personal stuff, so let's move on. I asked Overwolf directly again, a question I wanted to ask for a while now. Why was Overwolf bundled with the CurseForge client to begin with, and why is he up? Well, since they acquired CurseForge, it only made sense to them that they built the client on Overwolf. It allows the use of Overwolf for other games without having multiple app launchers and, quote, exposed them to the other things that Overwolf does and can help them with their gaming experience, while admitting themselves that this is not what all the users wanted. And, quote, after getting feedback, we created a standalone version of the client to exist alongside the Overwolf one, which allows anyone to choose their preferred experience, unquote. Meaning now we have the CurseForge launcher with the option of installing Overwolf as well. One behavior I did notice and asked about was why the Overwolf client is staying active in the system tray, and their official response was, quote, while it's a common practice for gaming clients of all sorts, Steam for example, our main reason for minimalizing Overwolf to the system tray on default is that in order for users to have their apps work as soon as they launch the game, Overwolf needs to be on. Not having it that way would create a cumbersome process or will create a lot of support issues. While for CurseForge this is not the case, for all other game-based apps it is very important to allow the gamers a seamless experience. And last but not least, I had someone stating they wished Overwolf made themselves open source so they could use their tech and contribute to it. Sadly, this likely won't happen, as Overwolf is afraid this could lead to the making of cheats, and that could harm relationships with gaming developers and making the Overwolf mission as a whole less useful to the community. So with that out of the way, let's draw our final conclusions. So, is Overwolf bad? No, I don't think so. They made some mistakes, but I do think they are doing stuff right now that the wider audience will always perceive as shady and unnecessary. But they are aware of that, and they are aware of the negative reputation they still carry from 2015. Do I think they're perfect? No. God, no. But I think I made my stance on ads clear. But do I think they're a net positive for our community? Yeah, I think so. Between making modding more viable as a profession, developing the curseforge launcher, which until recently didn't have any competition when it came to the ease of use, but now with Moderin's awesome mod loader, I'm actually excited what curseforge is going to do in the future, and by extension Overwolf. So I'd like to thank Dr. Oyster and the Overwolf team for the time and answering some questions, and I'd like to thank you for watching. I was Lunar, you were awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. I'd like to thank my patrons on Patreon/CygnusMC for making this video possible. And of course, a big shout out to my Boulder supporters Joyens, Rekbecca, Sneesonics and Snovex. And of course, Mountains. Ravenous, big thank you to Farron, Comet, Hans Franz, Kikiso and Millhouse for pledging to me on the Mountain tier. If you would like to have full access to the full interview I had with Overwolf and others, and have early access to my newest videos, feel free to pledge right now. Thanks again, lads.